I'm Angelo Batio from Metal Method Productions. In my first instructional program, Speed Kills, I told you that I'm going to give you the keys to the Lamborghini. Well, nothing's changed. I'm still going to give you the keys. In Speed Kills 3, we are going to cover advanced concepts on the guitar and find out the whys where I'm concerned, so you can find out the hows or the how-to where you are concerned to vastly improve your playing. For example, I used to ask myself, why can I play so fast and clean? Why have I never had a hand injury? Why can I take minimal time to warm up and still play at full speed right away? I found out these answers when I taught guitar. I haven't taught privately since I graduated from college, only instructional programs like this. But I found out that helping other people was a win-win situation. Nobody does nothing for nothing. I found out that if I could honestly answer these questions and questions my student had about guitar technique, I not only helped the student, but I helped myself. I have a saying that I came up with that I live by. It is better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. The first thing I'm going to show you in Speed Kills 3 are a few of my warm-up exercises. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to take those exercise motives and use them to create riffs up and down the fretboard. Another thing that I'm going to show you in Speed Kills 3 are string skipping tapped arpeggios. In the first Speed Kills program, I had the monster lick, but we have two of them here. Before we get to the exercises, I'm going to play a track for you that I love to play. I'm going to play the blues.
All guitar tab for this lesson appears on screen. Please use your DVD player's remote to pause the animated tab to work on individual exercises. Chapter points are placed throughout this program. Use your DVD player's remote to move forward to the next chapter or back to the previous chapter. This allows you to review and play along with each exercise. Additional material is stored on this disc that can be accessed on any computer that has a DVD drive. Simply insert this disc into the drive and choose to explore the disc instead of to play the DVD. Click on the file called tab.htm to print a copy of the guitar tab. Tab.htm will also give you access to animated tab to play along with all exercises.
This program is in concert pitch, which means tuned to a standard A440. This is my basic practice regimen. I first start with the warm-ups in Speed Kills 2. After that, I use the exercises that I'm about to show you. These exercises are also great to use to make long extended runs. Exercise 1 is an exercise that uses the blues scale with alternate picking. What I want to do in this is warm up my fourth finger immediately. And I found that this exercise not only warms up my fourth finger, but it uses the third finger as well. So I can sit there unamplified and just play like this. Now, I recommend that you start on the 5th fret and play all the way up. When you see the exercise, we're going to start it on the 5th fret and then end on the 8th fret. But when I practice this in real life applications, I'll start playing it low, I'll move all the way up. Sometimes I'll play it high. I mix it up. I don't always play it the same way. Exercise 2 is a 3 notes per string Dorian blues exercise, and we're going to play it from A to C. Now when I play this, again, what I want to do immediately is warm up my fourth finger, because I found that once your fourth finger is warmed up, the other fingers seem to follow. And this exercise goes like this. Here are some words of wisdom from Mikey. Many times I will start these exercises on the 1st fret and play them all the way up to the 15th. Vary the places where you start and end. Don't always practice the same way. Be creative, mix things up. Exercise 3 is a 4 notes per string exercise in the key of E. Now I picked this because once I'm warmed up here, a lot of my notes, and I found out a lot of problems guitar players have when they play fast, is not playing low, but it's playing fast on the higher frets. So I designed this exercise to use not only 3 notes per string, but add that extra note, 4 notes per string, so it gives you a little variation in the kinds of patterns you play. Exercise 3 goes like this. What I wanted to talk about now are a few of the concepts that I've learned over the years when it comes to fretboard hand positioning. On my fretboard hand, what I try to do is have two different techniques. Like I said earlier, I have never ever had a hand injury, and that's because I patterned my guitar playing more after classical guitarists than rock guitarists. So what I do is I keep my thumb behind the neck and play perpendicular to the strings, so I have good hand positioning like this versus say a blues style like this. I mean, look at your hand position. Walk around like that for about an hour, go, hello everybody. It hurts. So what I do is I shifted my hand like this, so it's a very natural motion and it doesn't hurt your wrist. I've also learned too that vibratoing in this technique is not so good. What I do when I vibrato is I switch it to old school. I put my thumb above, and I'm very good at vibratoing with my little finger, with my fourth finger. I can vibrato with any of them. But what I do is I shift it into a more old school blues position, play really hard, and shake the guitar. So that's the fretboard side. On the picking side, I've talked about this for a long time. How fast can you flick your thumb? Do not flick your thumb. I have found that over the years, my thinking has not changed. But one thing has changed. People say, well, every once in a while, I notice that you flick your thumb. But I can say this, and here is from years of experience and watching so many great guitarists. 99.99% of all the great guitarists have a picking motion that does not involve moving their thumb or their index finger. But when I play unamplified and just sit around and I do something like that, my thumb never moves. I found out when it does move is when I'm playing with amplifiers 99% of the time on a stage and I'm going for a sound, because instead of playing unamplified, you have no amplifier that reacts to the strings. But all of a sudden, you're playing with volume and now your amp is interacting with the strings. And I found sometimes when I'm playing slow, I have to move my thumb to kind of adjust my hand to mute the strings. This is very important. People ask, do you play with your elbow or your wrist? Both. It's not one or the other. I have an extremely natural wrist motion. Again, it's why I've never had a hand injury. My wrist moves like this. It's comfortable, it's natural, it's a way a human moves their wrist. So I can say this with confidence. Who cares if you use your elbow or your wrist? It's unimportant. The only thing that's important is to minimize the motion of your thumb and your index finger. Don't flick your thumb. Exercise 4 is a riff that I use in a song of mine on my Planet Gemini CD called Far Reaches of Space. Again, it's a 4 notes per string exercise in the key of B, and it's one of my warm-up exercises because it has picking patterns that when I play it and do a repetitive motion like this, it's very easy for me to warm up. So here's the exercise. Exercise 5 is a 2-string melodic sequence in the key of D. Now I recommend after you go over this exercise to try some variations. For example, the main exercise is like this. But take that same sequence and maybe change your fret position. And I like to play unamplified. I find that when I warm up, I can actually take a guitar that's not plugged in and play, and it really gives me a great warm-up. Here's exercise 5. In order to play fast, you have to learn how to play slow. I suggest practicing these exercises slow to medium speed. When I studied piano, my teacher used to have me play octaves with two hands very slow. I found out that was harder to play that way than it was just to rip really fast. The same applies to guitar. If you want to be really fast, learn how to play slow. Practice these exercises slow to medium speed. Exercise 6 is an arpeggio exercise based on alternative or economy picking. And I warm up to this too because, and again, we use your fourth finger, but I find when I play these exercises, within 10 or 15 minutes, I'm warmed up and ready to rock. Here it is. Six down, 22 left to go. I use my fourth finger a lot in all different ways. These exercises are designed to warm up my fourth finger. They're designed to warm up your fourth finger. I have found that when your fourth finger is warmed up, the other fingers feel looser, more warmed up as well, and your playing generally seems more effortless. Now, the next thing I'm going to play is an arpeggio sequence starting in C, D, and B minor. PPS, potential picking speed. Now what I mean by that is the potential quickness or speed that you have at this given time. Can your potential picking speed change? Of course it can. As you advance and you progress as a player, your potential picking speed will increase. PPS is a good way to gauge your current level of speed. All you have to do is take one note and tremolo pick it. Now when you're playing that note, watch your picking hand. Look at the position of the pick. Look at how you play that. That is the best way you can play guitar. Exercise 9 is a 2-string alternate picking sequence, but we use the 5th and the 6th strings. Now where I'm going with this exercise is once you learn this short motive, the exercise after that is going to take this motive and move it all the way up the neck. Here we go. Now in exercise 10, we take that motive that we used in exercise 9 and move it up on all 6 strings. And this is one of the things that, again, that I taught in Speed Kills, that you can take these short motives and use them over and over and over to make long extended riffs. Exercise 11 uses the same sequence as exercise 9, but we're going to pick it a different way. And the reason I'm showing this is because I have no prejudice when it comes to picking techniques. I like them all. And what I found is that because I have the ability to play all the different styles of picking, I have my choice as to what I want things to sound like. So when I played exercise 9 and 10, I used alternate picking and got a really aggressive sound. Now we're going to do the same 2 exercises again, but use economy, or what I termed alternative picking, and see the difference in sound. And this means that when you write your own riffs, you now have a choice. If you can master these 2 techniques, then you can say, well, how do I want this to sound? Because in the end, that's what it comes down to. What do I want this to sound like? So here's the exercise. So what's the difference in these 2 techniques? 1, alternate picking. 2, economy or alternative picking. Well, here's the difference. With alternate picking, every motion is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. No matter what string you go to, no matter what the sequence is, no matter what, it is strict down, up, down, up, down, up motion. But when you have economy picking, or sometimes it's called alternative, the motion's different. So if I have 3 notes per string on one string, my picking sequence will be down, up, down. But when I go to a new string, that down motion continues. So it's down, up, down, down. So it's not alternate. And some people say that it's an economical motion. I'm not so sure about that, but it is a motion that it's not so natural. And so when you go down, up, down, down, or you could go down, up, up, so that it doesn't follow a strict alternate picking pattern. That's the difference. Also, there's a big difference in sound. Alternate picking has a really aggressive sound. Economy picking has a smoother, more flowing sound, so you have your choice, but that is the difference between the techniques. Work on what is hardest for you, then what you are good at will become even better. And here's what I'm talking about. Because I'm left-handed, my picking hand was not my dominant hand. That's why I can do all these wild techniques. It was easy for me to do virtually anything with my left hand or fretboard hand, but that meant my right hand sucked. I worked for 2 years on my picking technique because this was the weakest link in my playing. So what I'm telling you is work on what you are weakest at, and not only will you accomplish that goal, but the things you're good at will become even better. Exercise 13 is an ascending melodic sequence using alternate picking. Here it is. On the original Speed Kills program, I introduced the Monster Lick. Well, on Speed Kills 3, we have 2 of them. This first Monster Lick is a series of 3-string arpeggios using economy or alternate picking, and it's from my song called The Finish Line. And I'm going to play a little excerpt of this for you so you can hear what it sounds like with a backing track. This first Monster Lick is based on 3-string arpeggios, but played in a melodic way, not just one arpeggio over and over and over and over. And when you watch the slow examples, watch how my picking hand glides across the strings. So together, these first 5 exercises are the first Monster Lick. You're probably wondering how to apply the riffs in this first monster lick. What I do is I start off playing arpeggios in the D natural minor scale. It's also called the Aeolian mode. Then I switch to a harmonic minor scale, and that's a more classical sound. So what I do in this first monster lick is play arpeggios switching between those two scales. String skipping tapped arpeggios. The next series of exercises you're going to learn is a technique that I've used for a long time. You can hear these kinds of arpeggios on all of my solo albums. What I do is instead of going straight up and down on an arpeggio, I actually start on the fifth, move down to the tonic, up to the third. So instead of 1, 3, 5, it's 5, 1, 3. And what I do is I start on the fifth string, move to the third string, go to the first string, and then back down. So not only are you skipping strings, but the sequence is changed. You're not moving straight up and down in a linear form. The first one is G major 7th. The next arpeggio is E minor 7th, and it goes like this. The next arpeggio that I think is very important is a dominant 7th string skipping tapped arpeggio. So what you have already is a major 7th, a minor 7th, and now the dominant 7th. Sounds like this. We have a diminished string skipping tapped arpeggio. Now what I'm trying to do with these 4 different arpeggios is so you can create a harmonic sequence. For example, if you played all 4 of them in a row, G major 7th, E minor 7th, D 7th, and F sharp diminished, you have a really nice sounding string skipping tapped arpeggio progression. But a diminished arpeggio can also be substituted for the dominant 7th. And this diminished arpeggio sounds like this. Exercise 23 is based on the Phrygian dominant mode. When you hear this sound, it's very neoclassical. What I did in this riff is I made it a long one. So you start on the 12th fret, go to the 16th, and move it all the way down to the 1st fret, and eventually an open E chord. Here it is. On Monster Lick 2, I use all alternate picking. And I do a couple things on this solo that are kind of trademarks of mine. When I start low, everything is all alternate pick. But instead of progressing just straight up a scale, I like to refer to what I call like backtracking, where I'll play up, then I'll move back down, then I'll move back up again. And when I ascend up the fretboard, I'm actually playing patterns that descend, so I'm moving higher, but the notes are moving lower. Now, when I get up higher on this, and I'm starting on the 15th and 16th and 17th frets, I move up, and then I change pickup positions. So I'm playing on the back pickup, or a lot of people refer to that as the lead pickup, and right in the middle of the solo, I flick the switch, and I do a vibrato. And again, if you're playing with good technique, your thumb should be behind the neck. But once you do that vibrato, put your thumb over that neck and hit it hard. Also, when I play this first vibrato, I bend it up a major third. So it's something that you're really going to have to work at. And to keep it in tune, it's not just a 2-fret bend. You have to bend way up there and then come into another bend. So you're going to get a lot of different techniques on this one Monster Lick. There are no shortcuts to having great technique on guitar. I've never tried to teach anyone to play like Mikey. I've always tried to be an innovator, not an imitator, and teach techniques so you can be the best that you can be. Speed and accuracy are acquired techniques. Sure, talent always helps, but the ones who work hard and smart are the ones that usually are the most successful. Remember my quote, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. This is Angelo Batio from Metal Method Productions saying see ya and practice, practice, practice.